This is so bright and cheery. It just makes you happy looking at it all the way around. Margie brought this over. This is the first quilt I received from her. She actually brought me 5 quilts at the same time. So we're going to have some fun with this sunrise sunset quilt. I am just in love with it. The combination of colors here. She has that gorgeous sun in the corner here, and then bringing it out with that sunrise or sunset to go with it. Very, very nicely done. Everything put on point, which means what? That she has triangle insets all the way around. I do love them being in black. I think that emphasizes it so well. The design that we're putting it onto it is my Paisley 2 design, and I'm doing it in the orange peel color of thread. We are pulling out a lot of the swirls when it comes to sunsets and sunrises and adding that to that beautiful Paisley design, and it's showing up so nicely in those bold black triangles right there. When you have triangle sections, you need to remember that you're going to have at least 1 bias edge and maybe 2 bias edge, depending upon how you cut it. When you have bias edges, you need to be gentle because those can really stretch and have a challenge. In fact, on this quilt right here, on this piece, she has the straight of grain going this way, but on these two, the straight of grain is going down here, which means the top is the bias edge, and I had to be gentle in doing my basting and incorporating the rest of the stitching into it. So that was something that I had to watch out for. Be aware of that. This one again, she has the straight of grain going across this top section. So again, those weren't going to be a big worry, but several of them have the bias at the top. So if you have questions, let's talk about it a little bit and we can work something out so I can help you figure out how to do that. Let's talk about pressing real quick. On the back side of the front of the quilt, very nicely pressed. Pull it up here with one hand so that you can see how nicely she has pressed those sunbursts, those sunsets and sunrises, and then really nicely pressed here. She's chosen to press those open, which I'm all about. That's fine. If you have a lot of thickness, a lot of bulk, I always suggest pressing it open. Like if you have a lot of triangles come together, if you have a lone star, if you have thicknesses like a t-shirt quilt, do be pressing that open to reduce bulk. But then when you get done, turn your quilt over, lay it up on your ironing surface, and let's press the top of that quilt. You will be so happy that you're pressed the top of your quilt, and your creation will just be smooth, and it will work out so well here on the quilting bed. I am going to be trimming up this quilt. She's requested that I do that. And you know what, friends? If you send a quilt over here to Brenda's Quilting Studio, I would always highly suggest you consider that I trim it. Why? The benefits to that is that when it's returned to you, it looks ready. It looks great. First impressions make a huge difference. Secondly, it is ready for binding. Sometimes we just got bogged down in the process of trimming and we never really get around to the binding process. That way it's just ready to go. 3, sometimes you don't have a lot of surface area at your location to be able to trim it. I have lots of surface area. I can do it here. 4, I'm very fastidious about my trimming. I make sure that things are very square and ready to go. So you've got lots of benefits. Consider having me trim your quilt. First impressions, you never get a chance to make them again, and you will be so happy when your quilt is returned to you completely trimmed up. What questions and thoughts do you have? Pop them down below. Let's have a discussion. Send a quilt over to Brenda's Quilting Studio. I can tell you how to do that. I get lots of quilts by mail, and I would be so happy to be able to help you create your next heirloom one stitch at a time.